Hi, Tagabao. Hi everyone, this is Ntombi Ngenelwa. As you guys can see, this is a different segment, or I can say a different series in my channel. I've decided to call this series or a segment Vision and Counterport, mainly because I want to focus on issues where there'll always be the question, Guti, when did you have the vision? Meaning, when did you encounter the vision that brought you to a particular place that you were in at that moment, or that you were in at that moment? So reason why I'm calling this series a Vision and Counterport. And in this series, or the segment, we'll be speaking about anything and everything, meaning we'll be educating, we'll be learning, we'll be talking about love, we'll be talking about motherhood, a career that one can take, or teaching school kids, anything that will give hope to the viewers, anything that will teach, that will entertain, that will be of a great impact to whoever is watching. So I really hope you guys will enjoy this segment. I did speak about this segment back in 2022 in November. I was pregnant at that time, but I thought I will publish new episodes, but I guess pregnancy had me, because I think when I posted this, I was already 7 months, late in my 7 months. So you can just imagine I was in my third trimester. But let's not concentrate on that. I decided to start this pod with the topic of the awareness of God's presence. I'm gonna look on the side because I'm trying to remember my notes. I wrote these notes back in 2022 when I was hoping to publish this new segment. So I decided to start with this topic because I want to honor God, and show him that I do listen when he speaks to me. I know sometimes it's very hard to listen to God's word or voice, and even today, I wanted to film this yesterday, but I don't know what happened. I ended up not doing what I was planning to do. But today I was determined that I am going to film this, and I will upload this, and hopefully I will upload it every Sunday, meaning I will have 2 videos in a week, and hopefully I'll have 8. Season 1 will probably have 8 topics, and I'm really hoping that I really stick to it. So as I did say, that the topic for this first episode will be awareness of God's presence, meaning, am I aware of God's presence in my life? Also, if you are watching, I also want you to question yourself. If you believe in God, are you aware of God's presence in your life? And when do you realize that now God is in the room, now God is walking with you, now God is doing certain things with you? You get, I hope you understand I hope you understand my question. So it says, are you aware of God's presence? Yes, I'm aware of God's presence. I see God in the way that I feel about certain situations and issues, or obstacles that I face in my life. I see God's presence every time when I wake up. For me to be able to speak, to kneel down and pray in the morning, me having water to bath, me still having the people I love next to me, my kids, my husband, my aunt, my dad, my uncles, that shows that God is in my life, that God is resides next to me, resides in me, you know. And also sometimes when I pray, I get to experience God's presence. I get to be overwhelmed, not really overwhelmed, but I get to really feel his presence. Even when I'm sad and I pray, God will comfort me, and that's when I know that he will never leave me nor forsake me. You get? So another question that I have is it possible for one to have awareness, to be aware of God's presence daily? I just explained that. Each and every day, me waking up means God is in my life. Me encountering the love I get to receive from my kids, from my husband, from my family, from my aunts, then I experience God's presence on a daily. When God speaks to me, even today, I will share that a little bit later on. Even today, let me continue and then we'll go back to what I experienced today. Like today's the 4, 5, 6 is the 6th of March, and I will show you, like when I say God speaks and God is always there, this is what I mean, you know. So when we look at the verse John 14 verse 11, wait, let me confirm, because I wrote this a long time ago. It's almost approaching 2 years. John 14 verse 11. Okay, I did highlight already. God says here, believe me that I'm the Father and the Father in me, or else believe me for the sake of my works themselves. So it's John 14 verse 11 and verse 16. It says, and I will pray the Father, and he will give you another helper, that he may abide with you forever. So let's start with verse 11. I said here, let me read my answer so that I don't. These verses now, verse 11, I can relate to them because I've seen evidence of his work. I've listened to him when he speaks to me. The evidence will be me praying and asking for certain things and me having to receive them. I will ask for how I envision certain things, and they will work out exactly how I envision my request. Also, the evidence I get is from the vision that he has placed in me, and all I need from all of that is to trust and put my faith in him. Meaning, I've seen his work, and I believe God here is telling us, or Jesus is saying to us, if we do not believe in him, then let us believe in the work that he has let us experience in our lives. So for me, I've seen God's work. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen how he works through a lot of things. When I was young, I lost my mom at a very young age, and I remember my Sunday school teacher saying to me and my friends, you know, when things are hard, when there's so much noise at home, do not hesitate to go in the bathroom and pray. And that's when I felt his presence. That was the first time, I remember very well, that was the first time I remember experiencing God's presence in my life, with no doubts that whatever I'm praying about, God is listening. I don't even know why I'm being emotional about this, but yeah. So sometimes when you feel like God is not in your life, or he's far away, remember the things that he has done for you, the evidence that you have received in your life that will make you be certain that God is with you every day. And then verse 16, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you. So an advocate, I believe, the Bible, the word itself can be an advocate, because here God assures us, Uti, I'm with you guys. I am with you. I love you. You are my kids. You can rely on me anytime, anyway, you know. So with me, my answer here that I wrote down is I see God's presence through my family. I see God's presence through my husband, through my aunt, through my friends. I don't have a lot of friends anymore, and I used to love friends so much, but I guess sometimes we rely so much on people and forget who we are supposed to rely on. But God has given me so many advocates in my life. I have my husband. He makes me happy. I have my kids that, I get bored whenever they are not around me. I have advocates through my friends who will sacrifice to see me happy, you know, at their expense, you know, without wanting anything in return. Through my aunt, that woman has been my pillar of strength. She's been, anyone who knows me will know that my aunt is everything. My aunt is everything to me. He's everything to my kids, you know. And I've seen that besides the word being an advocate in my life, like, it gives me hope. It reminds me what God says about me, how much love God has for me. It's one of the advocates. And then there's, in a human form, there's my aunts, there's my husband, there's my kids, there's my friends, there's people, you know, people you get to meet anyway, anytime, to assure you, Guti, God is there, you know. Seeing God through those people, uNkulunkulu uyabathumela abantwana bakhe bazokhuluma kuwe about certain things. Sometimes you might be going through a hard time, and then you meet someone, and then everything goes back to normal, mentally or emotionally, you know. God works in mysterious ways. I've seen God's presence, guys. I've seen his love for me. I've seen, you know, last year I was applying, going on interviews, doing assessments, and I would see that I did so well in that interview and then there won't be any response, you know. And I had to learn to trust the process, that if something is for me, it will find me, you know. And if anything is for me, God will never allow it to pass me, you get. So I believe I had to trust in God, even when umsebenzi wakhe at that moment awubonakali. I don't know if you understand. I don't know. I feel like I'm preaching. Like, when sometimes you could feel good, God is quiet now. God is not saying anything. God is not even like, there's not even a sign. Because I'm one person, whenever I pray, I say, God, please show me a sign. And I ask for certain signs. Guti, if this is how things are supposed to be, may I see the sign, you know. Sometimes I do that, and God will answer me, you know. And I've seen how just a little faith that you can have, God will never leave nor forsake you. He will always give you what you want or need or what you ask for at the right time. So with all of this being said, in Matthew chapter 14 verse 26, the word says, excuse me, when the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried out in fear. That's verse 26. Verse 27, it says, but Jesus immediately said to them, take courage, it is I, don't be afraid. So sometimes we walk, me doing this, I'm so scared, I'm so anxious, but I don't want to postpone this any further. I'm not perfect, number one, and me waiting for the things I want for this channel, that means I'm not gonna start, you get. So reason why I was like, I need to push myself, reason why I'm also like, I'm trying to push, you know. Even now I want to show you something. I have these mics now. I was about to connect and, you know, just to have better sound quality, and this thing is low, meaning the last time I was, because I tried to film but I didn't like the content, so I was like, oh man, let me, meaning I didn't switch it off. So now when I check it, it's off, and I was a bit sad, but I was like, that can't stop me because I'm used to filming with my phone without a mic. So God called me to do this pod, which is a podcast. I was afraid to say that because there's a lot of successful podcasts out there, and me calling this segment a podcast made me feel like, oh, what are you doing? But because I trust God, I need to be confident in him. I need to have faith in him. I'm so uncomfortable saying this, but God is using me. Ne? So verse 29, come, he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came towards Jesus. And verse 30, but when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, cried out, Lord, save me. 31, verse 31, Jesus immediately said, immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You of little faith, he said, why did you doubt? So my point here is that I'm not saying you must have little faith in God. But what I'm saying is, try to believe, no matter how hard it is, that little faith, you know, fake faith, you know, fake it until, like, you know, when they say someone is delusional, rather you be delusional knowing Guti, you trust God, you know. So but here God is saying we must trust him. We must live here outside of, I don't know where, but we must just trust him, believe in him fully. But also, with the little faith that you have, God can still do his work in your life. He saved Peter after Peter saw the wind while he was walking towards God. as he was walking on water. But because of that fear, he still called upon God and said, Lord, save me. He had fear while he was walking, but all he could think of is, God, save me. So I believe and I trust that if we put it all in God's hands, he will do his work. He knows why we are here. He knows what we are about to ask from him without us even asking. So I trust and I believe that this segment, I know God will be so proud of me, hey? From me doing all of this. I know he is proud of me. And I really hope that you will enjoy this segment. So the vision encounter, what I've encountered through this vision of me starting this podcast. I'm a very shy person, but the things I enjoy doing are said to not, they are said not to be for people who are shy. I don't know if I'm speaking the correct English right here, but I hope you understand. I'm very shy. Anyone who's been in my life knows that I'm a shy person, and that makes me very awkward when I start doing things that are outside of my comfort zone. And I'm praying and hoping to come out of that shell. And I guess I have come out of that shell because I'm here, you know. I remember when I started this channel, I said I want to have different series or segments in this channel, you know. And I really hope we grow from here. I really hope. So the question in closing, which relates to the name of this podcast or this pod, is, what vision did I encounter in being aware of God's presence in my life? So here I wrote that I know I wanted to be a storyteller, and I didn't know what kind of a storyteller. During my first year, I didn't do so well, but I did qualify for funding, but when the results came, my percentage was low, and I had to recalculate myself and found that I was being robbed to finish my degree. I remember going to the funding offices every day and emailing the head of finance daily. One day I woke up, I prayed. I remember that day very well. I woke up, I was going to school every day and making sure that I speak to one person. If the person I want to speak to directly was still with someone and I had to enter, I would allow someone else to go in, right? So this one day, it was on a Friday, I remember very well. And I woke up, I prayed, and then I remember my grandmother coming in, and then when she realized that I was praying, then she went out of the bedroom, and then I was done. I did the bed, and I said, Gogo, today, you know. And I remember in my prayer saying, God, because I remember I said when I applied, I studied film and television, by the way. When I applied, I said, God, I applied now. If I get a acceptance letter and it says I'm accepted, please provide me with funds. If I'm not supposed to study, or I'm not supposed to study what my first option or whatever, may I not even get that acceptance letter. And me now being deprived of furthering my studies because they calculated my marks wrong. Yes, I didn't do well, but the percentage was 60 something, and I think 65, and I got more than 65. They gave me on the sheet of people who were approved by NSFAS, they said I'm 55. I think I googled how I'm supposed to calculate, you know, and then I did that, and I saw these people, they're trying to make me drop out, and I'm not gonna allow that. And I said, God, you promised, you allowed me to do my first year, and now I need to do my second year. I will carry the modules, and all I need is this funding. And then I woke up, I took a bath, and then I went to school, and already classes have started. I remember very well seeing my friends and them coming to stand with me throughout while I'm trying to speak for myself to get funding. And some will go to class and then come back, you know, all of that. You know, they showed me so much support. And then this one time when I went then on that day, now I'm thinking a lot now. I went to the same guy, and then he was like, it's probably the 4th time you come in here. And I said yes. And then he was like, you need to email the head of office. I was like, I took out my phone, I was like, here are my emails, and I never got any response from her. And then I was like, please recalculate properly, because the percentage that I got is not what's on the approved list, you know. And then he was like, okay. And then after he did that, he took my academic record, emailed it to this lady, and then he asked that I get approved. And I think that time it was around, finance used to close around 3. It was around past 2. And then he said, you know what, I CC'd you, so if she responds, you will also get the answer. And then when I went out, and then he said, if you are approved, then you have to come back here, and then we do a certain paperwork, and then I have to go apply. And then I remember one of my friends from first year, I saw her, and then we chilled a bit. While we were chilling, I opened my emails, and then I saw that I'm approved. And that's when I got the vision. I encountered a vision from God. Gucci, hey baby girl, this man is always by your side. He will never leave nor forsake you, you know. And I'm truly grateful, you know. I know sometimes people will say, there's no need to study film and television, blah 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 blah. It's okay. I studied it, and I got a lot of knowledge, and I appreciate the opportunity. So coming back to what I experienced today. So I want to show you guys, you have been burping. I want to show you guys, I don't know if you guys can see. I will try to zoom it. Here I wrote 2 Chronicles 8, chapter 8 verse 11 there. But when, I don't know, I wrote this last week, but I attended to this verse today. But trust me when I tell you that when I opened my Bible, I didn't go to 2 Chronicles, I went to 2 Corinthians. And I only realized after, when I was about to write my notes. When I was about to write my notes. So 2 Corinthians chapter 8 verse 11. But I decided to start with verse 10. It says, and in this I give advice. I did read the whole from 7 until 8, but I will focus on this. It says, and in this I give advice. It is to your advantage not only to be doing what you began and were desiring to do a year ago, but now you also must complete the doing of it, that as there was a readiness to desire it, so there is also maybe a completion out of what you have. So from my understanding from all of this, as I did say that I will come back to this verse. I wanted to film this in 2022. I thought I'll probably on season 3 of this pod, but I guess it's episode 1, season 1. So what I understand, because yesterday I wanted to film, but I took a nap and I woke up late. So today I was very much prepared, would say I am going to do this. And I came across this verse, 2 Corinthians chapter 8 verse 11, when I was supposed to read 2 Chronicles verse 8 to 11. So when I say God speaks and all he wants is for you to listen, this is what I talk about. This is what I speak about. There are always signs that God is there, that God is always present in our lives. There are always signs that whatever you speak, it will come to life. God is saying I need to take advantage, not only to be doing what I began and what I was desiring a year ago. I desired this 2 years ago. Let me say 2 years, a year and something. But now you also must complete the doing of it. Meaning, I've started, I wrote my notes in 2022. I need to complete what I've started, and I live by not giving up until I see results. You know, I almost gave up in varsity, but I always had this thing which I've told myself from a young age that I will never start something and not finish it. And it took me so many years to get my degree, but I finally got my degree. And now it took me a vision. It took me encountering coming up with these topics. It took me coming up with the name. It took me creating the logo for this pod. And I need to finish what I've started. I haven't published even the first episode. And all God wants is for us to listen to him. And I couldn't be more happier that I'm doing this. And as I did say that this podcast, I will call it a podcast because that's what it is, and it is going to grow from where it is. So from me, my Vision Encounters, I really hope you did grab something. I really hope you find hope in me sharing how I experience God's presence in my life. And I really hope I will see you guys on the next episode. For me, I just need to go and edit this episode, and I really hope you did enjoy. I'll see you on the next one. Hi.